How's it going, everyone? Welcome to episode 0.5 of our little Dungeons & Dragons story. Dungeon Master Levels here, and this time I'll talk a little about the world of Taraiquill and introduce the player characters. This is going to be a short one, but we wanted to keep it separate since putting it at the end of a 25-minute video just didn't seem right. So, starting off with Taraiquill, it's a world created by an overgod using the energy of creation and then given as a gift to the overgod's children. These children, who are deities of this world, lived among the world's many different races and guarded it from malice. They kept the beings of Taraiquill safe during its harshest moments, using their inherited knowledge of life, death, magic, nature, and the elements to protect them. Most of these deities spent a lot of time both in and outside of the material plane, often going to the elemental planes and the Feywild as well. Unfortunately, peace isn't everlasting, and soon, the protector deities of dragons started to quarrel, with this leading into the age of the Draconic War. The deities, wanting to keep their slice of Taraiquill safe, did all they could, some even opening rifts to their elemental plane just to be able to provide some sort of sanctuary for their followers. No matter how many times the deities discussed the state of Taraiquill, none but one could have ever expected the next threat to Taraiquill to be themselves, and their war against each other. With one final divine intervention from the Overgod, utilizing the energy of creation and the help of the one deity that stood by their people, the war ended without a clear victor. Inhabitants from each island continent believed their gods to have won, but none could comprehend why the deities no longer walked among them, not knowing that the intervention prevented the deities from being able to utilize most of their powers. All of them, except one that 100 years later had recruited talented individuals and indoctrinated them of the promised return. 152 years is a lot for a human. They're blessed with their trauma ending with them earlier than most of the races. 152 years into the Age of Repair clearly lets us see that the inhabitants of Taraiquill are still having a hard time coming to terms with their deities leaving them behind, or just flat out ignoring that issue, believing that they'll still be there to save them should another war like the past happens again. Fortunately for Taraiquill, a new party of adventurers started to learn of its history in the island continent of Firas. A kitsune noble trained in combat and a human scholar in search of relics for their study, being forced to move to Vlamstad, meet up with a half-elf paladin that swore to protect people from demons, a quarter-elf wanting to research the history of the world and put them in song, and a halfling scholar wanting to explore new areas of healing. Now, they work together under the guild built by former adventurers. Unfortunately for them, learning about the history of Firas only gets them closer to the one that understood the promised return.